and welcome. This is lecture number 3 of the lecture series on differentiation. It deals with distance learning, which is the scenario under which you will be applying differentiation for your assignment for this unit. So let's just dive right into it. The first thing we're going to do is define distance learning. Basically, distance learning is any course scenario when you're taking a class where the students and instructor are not physically co-located, which means they're not in the same place. Like the instructor is at a university and the students are wherever they live, just not on the university, they're not on campus, or it can even be vice versa. Usually, because of technological advancements, this uses internet technology very heavily so that students can attend class virtually. We'll go into that a little bit later. Class limits, sometimes they can be a little higher because there's no space requirement, right? If a bunch of students are attending class from different locations, wherever, you don't have to worry about the size of a room or something. So the class limit only becomes a function of what the instructors and the instructors' assistants can handle. It's more appropriate for some courses rather than others. Like for a lab course, for instance, distance learning wouldn't really work because you need to be in the lab and you need to be doing things. But for, say, mostly a theoretical course, a distance learning component could be quite practical. And also, it's most common that it's for postgraduate education. So after your bachelor's degree, it's usually better to this is not always the case, but it's usually better to be on campus when you're an undergrad because of that. So you'll mostly see distance learning in more graduate level classes because of that. Well, let's talk about now the types of lectures that that are associated with distance learning. And there are a couple options. You could go pre-recorded for all of the students. This is the flipped lecture paradigm that we've talked about so much, where the instructor records the lectures ahead of time and everybody watches it at their leisure, and then class time is used for group activities or discussion or something along those lines. It's basically what we do in this class. Then there's hybrid recording, where the instructor gives lectures as normal, but they're recorded for online people or distance learning people to watch later. And that way the on-campus students kind of get the same type of lecturing experience, while the distance learning people can get it too, only the distance learning people can't really ask questions in real time that way. And then there's a live lecture for all students. I haven't encountered this personally, but it seems to me that it would be possible for a lecturer to effectively stream their lecture so that distance learning students can watch it at the same time as on-campus students. So that's another option. As far as homework goes, usually there are only two ways it's done. It's either electronically submitted for everybody, so everybody, if it's written homework, they scan it and send it as a PDF to the instructor or the TA or whoever through email or through something like Blackboard. Or it could be a hybrid submission. I've seen this too, where only the distance learning people submit it electronically in the ways that just discussed, but the on-campus students still submit hard copies. I don't think there are really too many pros and cons. It's just a really personal preference. And then as far as exams go, those can be given in a couple different ways. Either they could be a kind of hybrid thing where the on-campus students are going to basically take their exams normally, and then the distance students take their exams maybe at different times or maybe at a set time but with an online proctor. Or this course could just have no exams at all. Like our class doesn't have any exams, and it's mostly based on discussion and assignments, and that can work for some classes. It doesn't work for others, but those are just the two options. So in conclusion, what this lecture was supposed to do, what its function was to just present kind of a distance learning scenario and get you thinking about the different types of ways that a distance learning type course can be run with those three major factors: lectures, homework, and exams. And then you can use this information and expand upon it for the assignment for this unit. So I'm looking forward to when we have the class about this, and I'll see you then.